may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, y'all have been doing a fantastic job of going down to that comment section and answering each other's questions. That's exactly what I've been wanting to see. I don't know how many times I need to talk about this, but we are all a part of the flock. I really don't have the time to go through and answer every single question I get every single day. I am mainly making the videos, but y'all are the ones doing the work, asking the questions in the comment section, and then also going and answering other questions, because if we all work together, I truly think everyone in the flock is going to crush their fantasy football playoffs. So continue to do that, and also while you're down there in that comment section, let me know what jersey you would like me to get to put behind us. We are going to add an extra one in, that way we can go through, rotate it, switch it up. I think what we're going to do is every season I'm going to get a jersey that represents what happened the season prior. So please guys, let me know what player makes you think of 2020, whether it's Justin Herbert, whether it's Kendall Hinton, literally anybody, Taysom Hill, I don't care. Let me know, and whoever y'all would prefer, that's who I'm going to get, because it's going to be for y'all. Alright, so regardless, let's get into this video and let's talk about these 5 wide receivers that are drastically falling in fantasy football based off their Week 12 performances. And let's start it off with Christian Kirk. Now, y'all know with Christian Kirk, this is a wide receiver that I have mainly been off over the past few months, just because he's operating more of a field stretching role in this Arizona Cardinals offense, because Larry Fitzgerald is going out there, and Larry Fitzgerald is soaking up all of the routes run from the slot for the Arizona Cardinals. And we know, if you look back at Christian Kirk coming out of Texas A&M, this is a wide receiver that was built to be that slot option. I think that he would be used a lot more efficiently if they just took Larry Fitzgerald out of the game plan. They put Christian Kirk in the slot. Then they used Andy Isabella to stretch the field. So once we had Larry Fitzgerald out of this game, I really thought that this was going to be a performance where Christian Kirk could go out there and he could soak up a ton of volume, with DeAndre Hopkins taking away the #1 cornerback from the New England Patriots. But that did not happen in the slightest. I think that we can point to the fact that this overall offense really had a hard time moving the ball down the field. Whatever reason that is, I don't know if it's Bill Belichick, I don't know if it's Kyler Murray's shoulder. The result here is a very disappointing performance by Christian Kirk in a spot where he should have blown up. And now looking at Christian Kirk going forward, definitely this is a wide receiver you need to keep on your roster. I think that we just have to be very selective when we decide to play him. I think when you play Christian Kirk is in the matchups where we see a very high implied team total for the Arizona Cardinals, maybe against an opponent like the Seattle Seahawks, where we're expecting Christian Kirk and the overall offense to have to put up a ton of points if we want to keep the Arizona Cardinals in that game. That just is not the case when you're playing a team like New England. You know that you can run a slower pace of play. You can go out there and use Kenyon Drake and not necessarily have to get Kyler Murray 40 pass attempts. So with Kirk, yes, he's going to be someone I want on our roster. We are just going to have to make sure we are playing him at the right time. All right, so now our next wide receiver, someone that I said was going to be completely dead, and he is Tyler Boyd. Now with Tyler Boyd, guys, we just saw this Cincinnati Bengals offense look like potentially one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL. Yes, if you look at the final score, it doesn't look that bad, but dive in to what actually happened, and the Cincinnati Bengals are dead. I do not want a single player on the Cincinnati Bengals, and I was actually wrong in saying that I thought the absence of Joe Burrow was going to completely kill T. Higgins. It was going to completely kill A.J. Green, because both of those wide receivers were operating a little bit further down the football field, where really Joe Burrow was the only guy that was going to look to take those shots. And I thought that Tyler Boyd, maybe it would have seen his volume maintain with him running routes a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. But very similar to what we said with T. Higgins, A.J. Green, and y'all know I said never consider starting Giovanni Bernard. I told y'all to go out there and cut Giovanni Bernard this past week with no Joe Burrow, even knowing that Joe Mixon's probably not going to come back this season. I think that Tyler Boyd slides into the list of players that we never want to play with this offense looking like the worst offense in the entire NFL. Yes, with Tyler Boyd, I would expect him to still probably have 1 to 2 random good weeks for the rest of the season. The problem is you just have no idea when those are going to come. So when we're evaluating a player like Tyler Boyd, let me know in the comment section, like, do y'all think that this is a wide receiver that you should be keeping on your rosters, or is this someone that you're willing to just go out there flat out cut? I mean, if you could go possibly pick up one of our waiver wire wide receivers, such as a guy like Deebo Samuel, maybe someone like Sterling Shepard, I think that's something I would 100% look to do. But if those two guys are not available, who are you going to be looking to pick up for Tyler Boyd, or are you just going to be keeping him on your bench? I'm just very worried about an offense that we know is going to be one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL, and I don't think there's going to be anything that can save them. All right, so now our next wide receiver, someone that I just have to come out and admit, I was wrong. I told so many people to go out there and play him. Antonio Brown. With Antonio Brown, it looks like he is dust. It looks like there was a reason that he was not on an NFL roster for the past 18 months, and that's because his talent is not worth the headache. Really, if he was going to be that top option like we saw him in Pittsburgh a few seasons ago, I'd imagine that more teams would have gone out there and they would have tried to bring in Antonio Brown. But looking at his efficiency numbers so far in 2020, it is clear that Antonio Brown is nowhere close to the talent at this point in his NFL career to a Chris Godwin, to a Mike Evans, and the volume is starting to represent that. With Antonio Brown, Tom Brady was force-feeding him that volume the first 2 weeks he was in Tampa, which is why I actually kind of came around on Antonio Brown, because y'all know coming in, as soon as he got signed, I was telling y'all, sell for Terry McLaurin, sell for DJ Chark, get whatever you can get, because y'all are way overvaluing Antonio Brown. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, where yes, he did not necessarily pop off the page in production, but we were looking at Antonio Brown getting a ton of volume, I was looking around going, oh my gosh, is this happening? Is Antonio Brown a real thing? Well, we got our answer this week. Tom Brady looked at the efficiency of Antonio Brown so far in 2020, decided that it was a much better idea to throw the ball to Chris Godwin, to Mike Evans, to Rob Gronkowski. Cannot blame him. Looks like Antonio Brown is washed. Looks like you should have traded him once he's signed. Yet again, I think this is a wide receiver based on the offense that he's playing in. You can't go out there and cut him, but he's someone that I do not want anything to do with. All right, so now our next wide receiver, Cooper Kupp. Guys, with Cooper Kupp, what happened? I mean, Robert Woods soaked up so much volume in this game. Not only did Robert Woods go out there and dominate, but we actually had Josh Reynolds see a significant amount of targets as well. Josh Reynolds out-targeted Cooper Kupp. So please, guys, explain this to me. This was also in a game where Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett really got no production whatsoever. I know the Rams offense was bad. I know this was a tough matchup. But with Cooper Kupp, he was coming off a performance where he was a top 10 wide receiver. Now, how is he dropping so far off in play this past week? Still think this is a player that needs to be in consideration for our wide receiver 2 or our flex spots going forward. But really, there's no excuses for this. That was a horrendous performance by Cooper Kupp, and I'm sure he lost a lot of players their fantasy football matchups, and I'm sure that he caused a lot of teams to be out of the fantasy football playoffs. All right, now this last wide receiver, I know not many people are going to agree with me here. Probably the reason that he's making this list is a little bit of a bias, a little bit of just a saltiness from me, just because I had him ranked as our number 2 rest of season wide receiver a week ago. We are going to be putting Keenan Allen. And now the reason Keenan Allen is going to be making this list, not only did he go out there and have the worst game that he's had with Justin Herbert so far this season, only seeing 3 receptions, a total of 40 yards, saving his day with the touchdown, but still not something you're getting excited about. The problem with Keenan Allen is Austin Eckler soaked up so much usage in this offense. Yes, we know that Austin Eckler is a great pass catcher, but you never expect a running back to go out there and get 16 total targets. On top of that, this overall offense really looked like that they were just taking a step back from where we saw them a few weeks ago. So with Keenan Allen, still a wide receiver that has a great rest of season schedule, still a wide receiver that I think is an auto start player for us every single week. But whenever I make my rest of season wide receiver rankings, I can promise you he's not going to be close to 2. I think that we are going to be having to move him back down to either a mid to low end wide receiver 1. All right. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Really, really helps us out. And I'll be live streaming every single night this week at 9 p.m. Central. I really hope to see y'all there.